So while I personally did not get a ton of actual reading done this month, I did read a lot of audiobooks, and my boys and I knocked out a ton of homeschool reading. And what their favorite book was actually surprised me. Check it out. If you're new here, I'm Rian, a Christ-following wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. Here we talk all things homeschool, and we will learn together how to use our roles as wife, mom, teacher, and homemaker in order to glorify God. So by a series of various events, we got very behind in our Sunlight read aloud. We were really up to date with our history and with our Bible portion of Sunlight, but with that literature section, we got way behind. So I decided we were going to take this month and take a break from our fun read alouds and just really focus on catching up on our Sunlight read alouds. And it was really a great month and very, very productive. So for our Sunlight this month, we read Happy Times in Noisy Village. So my other son, who's in 4th grade, read another one of the Noisy Village books. Actually, I think he's read 2, and he really likes them. So this is an older book, of course, written by the same author of the Pippi Longstocking series, and it's about several kids who live all close together, I think in 3 separate homes, and it's just the mischief they get into and the fun they get to have, tricks they play on each other, all that kind of stuff. So my kids really ate this up, and I enjoyed it too. Then we also just wrapped up Little Pear by Eleanor Frances Lattimore. This was an interesting book, something I never would have really thought to pick up, but Little Pear lives in a small village in China, and he gets into a lot of mischief also. He is always on the lookout for excitement, adventure, and he gets himself into trouble quite a bit. But my kids thought it was funny, especially because he had a friend named Big Head, and they thought that was hilarious. Now this one was their favorite, and it actually really surprised me because I do not like these at all. They're Greek myths. So I may be a little bit bitter because in 8th grade I had a pop quiz over Greek gods and goddesses and all this different stuff that we had been learning. Number one, I hate pop quizzes, but that shows that I wasn't really learning if I couldn't pass a pop quiz. However, the only F I've ever gotten on anything in my life was on this pop quiz, and it really, really bummed me out. And I just don't find Greek mythology interesting. And so I did not pay much attention to it in school. Had I known there was a quiz, I would have studied and made myself pay attention, but I didn't think there'd be a quiz, so I just didn't pay attention. Goes to show. However, this is the Usborne version of Greek myths, and my boys love this. Every time we pulled it out to read it, they did not want me to stop reading. They thought some of them were very, very funny. Not this one, but some of them were very, adventurous, and I don't know, maybe it's because they're boys. I don't know, they really love stuff like this. And I think they really liked the story of Odysseus. They really liked the story of the Cyclops and all that different stuff. So they ate this up, and I was really surprised. For my 4th grader, he read a lot of different books in Sunlight this month, but I told him just to pick his favorite, so this video isn't 30 minutes long. And he chose A Llama in the Family by Johanna Hurwitz, illustrated by Mark Graham. And this is about a family who has a llama for a pet. And he says it was really funny and very interesting. So again, there's a theme, a mischievous character. Thankfully this time I think the mischief mostly comes from the llama instead of the child. So there's that. And then for his just leisure entertainment reading this month, he said his favorite book is one that he's actually still finishing up. He's not all the way done, but it is Dirt Bike Racer by Matt Christopher. So this is a story of a kid who finds an old abandoned dirt bike, and he fixes it up, and he wants to be a racer with it. And my kids love all things engines, and they also love adventure. So I assumed this would be right up his alley when I chose it from the library, and apparently I was right. My 2nd grader did finish up his Sunlight reading, which was the Beginner's Bible. He was in this for pretty much since the beginning of the school year, and he finally finished it up. I'm super proud of him. But there was some sort of problem where the book ended. This was supposed to go with our Sunlight curriculum. I did not buy it with the Sunlight curriculum, so that may have been my issue. I bought it used from thrift books, and for some reason, when our story ended, Sunlight said it wasn't supposed to end yet. There were supposed to be more stories. So instead what I did was I took what I knew the stories were supposed to be that they were going to read in Sunlight, and I just had my son read them straight from the Bible. Of course, I broke it down to like small chunks. I didn't have them read chapters and chapters, but he would read small chunks of the actual Bible, not a children's Bible, and he understood it just fine and could answer the questions that I had for him. So that was pretty fun to get to see him do that. And then for his leisure reading this month, he picked a favorite, and it was Flat Stanley, Flat Again by Jeff Brown. Of course, the Flat Stanley books are kind of fun and very entertaining. There's always adventure in there too. And I think he likes this because there's still pictures. It's a chapter book, but it's still interesting and kind of broken up with some cool illustrations and stuff. So he really enjoyed this. And in this one, he becomes flat again, obviously, and gets to play the hero and I think help one of his classmates out. So pretty good book. And as for me, I did all audiobooks this month. I literally had no time to just sit and read aside from my Bible readings in the morning. So that kind of stunk, and I was kind of bummed because I was hoping to get to my Allie Beth Stuckey book. It just didn't happen. So I did read several, or listen to several thriller, like psychological thriller type books. I usually don't share those on here anymore because I don't think very many people are into those like I am, at least not my followers, which is fine. But one nonfiction book that I did as a reread this month, simply because it was so good and I just wanted to kind of listen to it again, was Chosen by God by R.C. Sproul. Seriously, check it out, guys. So this book, I think he originally wrote it just as a help to those who were already kind of in that Calvinistic Reformed mindset, just as a help to them to kind of understand where the belief comes from and how it is scripturally sound and everything like that. However, he said he was not, I think in the foreword, he said he was very surprised at how many people who are not Calvinist picked up this book and read it, and their minds were changed. And so I actually read this book, you'll remember, several months ago, and I discovered it probably a year or two ago when I was first, probably 2 years ago, when I was first just awakened to Reformed theology and what that meant, and predestination and all those different things. And so then last year I started reading this book, and then I just wanted to reread it because it's so, so, so good. And he shows in scripture over and over again how the Reformed theology really makes sense, and it really is scriptural. And so if you're new to all that and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, what that all means, it's okay. That's a book for you too. And so it just helps me to have a better understanding on, you know, what those things mean and where they are found in scripture. So that is it for our books for this past month, for the end of January, beginning of February. Let me know down below what you have been reading, and be on the lookout. Tuesday, I have a video coming up all about Apologia Astronomy and how we have liked that this year. And if you haven't, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.